After we thought that we could potentially see some normalcy return to the California home insurance market, the wildfires that have ravaged Southern California since the beginning of this year may have all of that off the table. So, what's next with homeowners insurance? What questions should you be asking? Do you have enough coverage? Let's dive into this topic right now. We have Southern California insurance broker Kiyoma Yoshizumi joining us. Yoshizumi Insurance is the name of his brokerage. First of all, I can only imagine, Kiyoma, that your phones have been ringing off the hook since the year started.
Off the hook, let me tell you that. Yeah. Especially after the LA fires, we had a lot of clients very concerned and calling us about coverage. Now with the San Diego fires this week, our phones are ringing off the hook. There are clients I haven't talked to in a couple years that have been reaching out to me, wanting to ask about coverage questions and any tips or advice that I have for them.
Okay, so let's jump into that.
Getting so close.
Yeah, what should people be contacting their insurance broker about right now? What are you advising people to do?
Well, if you have any questions on coverage right now, you should absolutely be reaching out to your insurance agent, because if you haven't reviewed your policy in, let's just say, 2 or 3 years, or you haven't spoken with your agent for 2 or 3 years, this is a very, very good time to check on your coverage and make sure that everything that you think you're covered for is in fact what you are covered for. And before those fires get too close to you, you are able to make changes on your policy. But once the fires are near you, or that company straight up says you aren't allowed to make any changes at this time, you can make changes to your policy, whether that's your deductible, your coverage on the home, your coverage on your stuff inside the home. And of course, the most important thing that I think we're going to talk about today is loss of use coverage or additional living expenses. Because if your home burns down, that's the coverage that's going to take care of your family, where you're going to relocate to a hotel part-time, or if your home's burned down, it's very likely you're going to need to rent for the next 2-3 years. And so most people can't handle paying their mortgage and rent somewhere. So these additional living expenses or loss of use coverage, this is what provides that rental coverage for you, so you don't have to come out of pocket for your mortgage and your rent, because that would be a huge strain on people's budgets.
Yeah, so I'm going to make sure that my insurance is up to date. I have the right coverage, but specifically, I want to ask about loss of use coverage, which you said it really can depend on the insurance company, because some people will give you 12 months and other people realize, we know you're not getting your house rebuilt in 12 months. It could be 24, 36. You want to make sure it's for the longest possible, right?
Absolutely, yeah. What I've seen over the years when I've been, obviously reviewing other clients' policies before they came to our agency, we've seen loss of use additional living expenses as low as 12 months. And obviously that's one way that homeowners insurance companies have been trying to minimize their exposure whenever these catastrophes happen. But ultimately it doesn't benefit you as the client. So if you're one of those home insurance shoppers that were very, very premium focused and only wanted to get the best deal, those clients should really be taking a look at your policies right now, because what you think you have might not actually be what you got. Because if you always go for the cheapest price, insurance isn't a commodity. Just because you get the cheapest price doesn't mean you get a good deal. It usually means you're sacrificing coverage in certain areas that might be very, very important to you.
What else should people be paying close attention to right now when we've watched entire communities burn to the ground?
Oh, goodness. Well, my best advice, number one advice that I'm giving to clients right now is go through every single room in your home, every single closet, open up every single drawer, take a video or a picture of everything. Because if you have to evacuate, some of those LA residents, they only had minutes to get out of their home. People underestimate the time that you have when you are being evacuated. People think you have an hour, 2 hours, and that's just not the case. I remember back in 2003 when I had a few friends at Scripps Ranch High School lose their homes in the 2003 Scripps Ranch fires. They didn't have time to grab anything on their way out the front door, and they lost everything. And, I think because I went through that as a young child firsthand, I feel like that makes me an even better insurance agent today because I firsthand know what those feelings are like when your friends and their families lose their home and everything that they built for. And that's the last thing I want my clients to go through. And so taking those videos and kind of inventory of everything inside your house, if your home burns down and you have to make a claim with the insurance company, you're going to have to itemize every single thing from a couch to a desk to maybe even your computers and your laptops. And you have to itemize all these things and tell the insurance company, this is what I had, please pay me back for it. And so without those pictures and those videos, it's going to be super hard for anybody to remember everything that they had in their house and have the insurance company pay them back for everything that they just lost.
No, that's so important. And I have to tell you, when we had a fire come scary close to my house this week, I was like, I didn't take that video because I was trying to wait till my house was totally clean. It's never going to be totally clean. I'm just taking, so I started doing the video and it took me way longer than I thought it was going to. Because when you're opening up every drawer think of every drawer in your house, every cabinet, every closet. I mean, this is at least a 30-minute ordeal to get the video right. And that's me kind of quickly scanning. So I wanted to tell people that, like, do it today, whether your house is clean or the beds are made or not. Just get that video in your phone so you know that you have it. The other thing I was going to say is I talked to one fire victim from a fire that burned through San Diego County years and years ago. She said they wanted the inventory, like you were mentioning, down to how many rolls of paper towels were in their storage closet and how many pencils they might have had in their desk drawer. I mean, it was that minute. So that's why you want to make sure that you have that video. Okay, what else should people know, Kiyoma, as they're, I'm looking at my window right now and the winds are ridiculous here in my neighborhood. So we're all kind of on edge, but what else should we know?
Well, if you don't have a copy of your insurance policy, which surprisingly a lot of clients have been calling our office this week to get a copy of their insurance policy. So if you don't have one on file, definitely call your insurance company to obtain a copy. So you're not, if something does happen, God forbid, knock on wood, you're not one of the hundreds of people that are trying to call into the insurance office or the insurance company when the company is busy dealing with claimants for their homes or whatnot. And so, people have to understand these insurance companies, they are staffed, but they are staffed to a limit. And so if there are big disasters going on and hundreds of people are calling in to file claims from the LA or the recent SD fires, you're going to be waiting in line. So the last thing you want to do is have to wait for, a copy of an insurance policy that you can get today. So if, God forbid, that situation happens where your home is compromised or part of your home gets burned, then you're not digging for that on top of trying to make a claim with your insurance company.
Yeah, great advice. I wanted to kind of talk more about California's insurance crisis on a macro level here. We were already on the brink of what felt like insurance collapse before the LA fires. You and I have talked about this over the past couple of years. What is your gut feeling about what's going to happen now?
I think I posted a meme about this the other day on Instagram. Pretty much going into 2025, end of 2024, beginning of 2025, I was super optimistic, Heather. I thought insurance companies were, right around the corner from coming back to the market. It was a lot easier end of 2024 to write home insurance policies versus end of 2023. 2023 was a really bad year for homeowners insurance. Lots of companies left, but I feel like 2024, the number of insurance companies that left had definitely gone down significantly. I didn't see any insurance companies decide to leave California or stop writing policies in the last quarter of 2024. So we felt very, very optimistic. But after the LA fires and then the recent SD fires, I do not really predict that there are insurance companies dying or wanting to come back to the Southern California market at this time, unfortunately. So I do predict that these problems are going to persist. until we actually get some insurance companies willing and able to come back to the Southern California market and offer competition, because ultimately it's the competition between insurance companies that creates lower premiums. And so without enough insurance companies right now to take on all the policies, we have a problem where, like for example, one client the other day, the highest quote we got for them was $48,000. The lowest quote we got for them was about $4,000 a year. And so the spread of premium between the cheapest and the highest insurance companies have significantly increased over the last year and a half, 2 years.
I think what I, am worried about is, this is already a tough state to be able to afford to live in. The only way that these insurance companies are going to want to do business here is if they can substantially raise the premiums on everybody, whether you lost your home or not, no matter where you live, that they need to charge more. They want to charge more. I mean, at some point, are we all going to see our insurance premiums just skyrocket because of these recent fires?
I think we're already seeing that right now, Heather. The companies that have left California, they had very affordable premiums, very great policies. They covered a lot for a very little premium. And I think insurance companies right now, particularly the homeowners insurance companies in California, are tired of that. Most companies that have offered fantastic policies at great premiums have lost money more years than you can count. So for example, one of the companies that we've dealt with who left California last year, probably about 1,000 policies we're going to have to replace this year. They were the best home insurance and landlord insurance company. No one could beat them for the last 14 years that I've been doing insurance. But now that they are gone from California, those policy holders are experiencing their premiums going up 2 to 3 times on average. And so I think some clients, particularly even my clients, are already feeling that right now, where they were with a great insurance company offering a great premium, but that company lost money 8 out of the last 10 years on homeowners insurance. So if you and I owned an insurance company, knowing we lost money 8 out of the last 10 years, a company cannot sustain that kind of loss forever. It's going to affect their financial ratings. And ultimately, if you have an insurance company that drops to a B or a C rating, that tells you as the consumer, this insurance company might not be able to pay all their claims if there's a huge disaster. And that's not a comfortable feeling for anybody who purchases insurance.
No, not at all. That's scary. I was up there covering the LA fires. I was in the Palisades for about 4 days. During the fires and right after the fires. And something dawned on me. I realized that all of these people, whether they had their current insurance company or they were over on the FAIR plan, they're going to get the money to rebuild. Will they rebuild in an area that I doubt will get decent insurance coverage again, and they will all be forced onto the FAIR plan, which means if a fire comes through there again, they will be woefully underinsured. So is it worth the risk?
It's possible. It's always a case-by-case basis. I didn't have any clients in the Pacific Palisades, but California FAIR Plan works for a typical home. But of course, you and I know in San Diego County, especially in Rancho Santa Fe, we have homes that are 7, 8, over 10,000 square feet. Those are the homes where California FAIR is not appropriate for. That product is not appropriate for those homes because you're right. Those larger homes could never get enough coverage on a California FAIR plan policy to cover them. However, if you're looking at a 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 square foot home that's going to be rebuilt in the Pacific Palisades, yes, California FAIR may be appropriate for them, assuming that the coverage is enough, because California FAIR will only offer up to $3 million coverage on a residential home. So you would think that's enough for most people, but there are a huge percentage of homes in California that cannot be rebuilt within $3 million. And so those homeowners have to seek coverage from other homeowners insurance companies that are literally charging an arm and a leg for coverage right now.
Yeah. And
And
that's where
so,
I
do
thought,
I think people are going to rebuild? I mean, if you love the Pacific Palisades and that's where your family grew up for generations, I do think that some people will rebuild in that area. But I don't think the community will be the same moving forward if you have enough residents not wanting to rebuild in that area and they rebuild elsewhere. So I think that's going to be really interesting in the next few years, who decides to rebuild in the area and who doesn't, and what that community is going to look like in the near future once all the rubble and ashes are removed and that community is starting to be rebuilt.
yeah, I agree, because I think that that fire felt like a game changer to me, simply because of our insurance issues here. Are people going to take that risk to rebuild in one of the most beautiful parts of Southern California, a place that they called home, only to potentially not be able to get the coverage that they're going to need?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
we're gonna see. We're gonna see what's gonna happen there. What else? I want to let you go here because I know we're running against the clock, but anything else you can advise people?
Talking about homeowners insurance issues and how insurance companies may be operating moving forward, I actually just had a meeting with Mercury Insurance earlier this week, and they were discussing with us that what they thought was a safe distance from a fire zone, the LA fires have proven that that is not a safe zone at all. So, for example, 10 miles away from a fire zone, we thought embers wouldn't fly that far or cause too much damage that far away from a fire. The LA fires just prove that 10, 15 miles away is actually not very safe at all when the winds are that high and the, climate is just literally perfect for a wildfire to spread. And so I think in that sense, a lot of homeowners insurance companies that are operating right now are going to tighten up their underwriting, and they're not going to want to see anything 10, 15 miles from a fire zone. So I think the clients that qualify for traditional homeowners insurance policies in the near future is definitely going to get a lot more strict. And I think we might see a lot more California FAIR policies coming to the market.
That's what I thought. And when you really think about it, Kiyoma, aren't we all 10 miles within a fire zone? I mean, that's
Exactly,
pretty much every one
exactly.
of us.
So,
So,
best advice, work with a broker. There's no way that, one broker like myself can insure all of California. So, find your local broker, talk to them, tell them about your situation, and see if they might be able to put you in a better place.
all right, great advice. Okay, well, let's hang tight and hopefully we get some rain here real soon. Kiyoma,
I
thanks.
hope we get that rain this weekend, Heather. I'm
Yeah, me
looking
too.
forward to it.
All
All
right,
right, it was nice
Kiyoma,
chatting with you.
you too. Kiyoma Yoshizumi, local insurance broker here in Southern California. Kiyoma, thanks.